Hey, Monday Movie Club. This week, Mark picked the animated version of Mulan from 1998, as you can see on his screen. I'm Frank Gaffney. With us, as always, Joel. Annie King is coming to us from the new territory in Hong Kong. Is that right?
The nude territory?
You wish.
I do.
Go fuck Cringer and go fuck. Oh, for some reason, Cringer got top billing this week.
Oh yeah, he
Look,
deserves it.
it's in his contract at this point.
Right.
He's the only one drawing attention to this thing.
And Mark Wotis Gardner. Um, should I ask why you picked it? All right, go ahead. Why did you pick it?
The quick answer is it's one of my favorite Disney movies.
Okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
And kind of appropriate we're watching Mulan since Annie's in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Worked out.
All right, here's the plot. It's based on a Chinese legend. Young Mulan is fearful that her ailing father will be drafted into the Chinese military, so she takes his spot. Though as a girl living under this patriarchal regime, she is unqualified to serve. She does it anyway. Girl power, yay. By 1998, I have to say, I had some serious animated movie fatigue. Because in the 8.5 years since The Little Mermaid, there were 12 animated movies vying for our attention. I'm pretty sure I went to the movies to see this one, but damn if I remember any of it. I was Amy Goldman. But I wasn't that big a fan. So much Disney slapstick. It was childish in some things. When they they were all fighting, and then everybody all together, all the soldiers went, he started it. I'm like, really? Did they rehearse that? And what Chinese man in the 10th century would wear underwear with hearts on them? Come on, Disney. It's a Disney thing.
It's comedy.
And then at the end, the emperor wants to give the assistant job to Mulan. And then the assistant is so upset when he hears this, he faints. I'm like, seriously? Come on, that joke
It's
so
almost
old.
like you've never seen a Disney movie before.
No, but this, I thought, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, I thought we got away from the silly thing. And this movie has so much silliness and dad jokes.
Yeah.
Chief Fu says, order, people, order. And somebody yells, I'd like a pan-fried noodle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
No,
That's a
come
dad
on,
joke.
Mark.
That's a dad joke right
Sure.
there. And so many awkward Chinese jokes. I mean, the guy pulling out the abacus. I'm like, really? All right. This was the first movie actually produced without Jeffrey Katzenberg's input. He had already departed to start DreamWorks, and their first effort, The Prince of Egypt, premiered this year as well. That movie was way too serious for my liking. And this must have been Eddie Murphy's audition for Shrek, because he's not as funny here as he thinks he is. I mean, he's cute, I'll give you that, but he's no Robin Williams.
Oh, I
And
think you're right.
he's trying to do a little Robin Williams shtick there, and I'm like, yeah, not everything landed. Lots of familiar voices, as we started to discuss last week, but a big shout out when I looked it up to voice legend June Foray playing Grandma.
Grandma.
Yeah.
But Grandma, such a typical Disney cliche. And the whole reason Mulan gets in all the trouble is Grandma. I'm like, shut up, Grandma. You're getting this girl in trouble. All right. And then there were little things that annoyed me too. Like, please explain how Mulan goes to the matchmaker, right? And then the matchmaker is on fire. Mulan throws water in her face, and it somehow puts out the fire on the matchmaker's ass.
Disney physics.
You're really starting to sound like Mark here.
Yes.
How unrealistic things are.
Oh, and don't get me started on that avalanche. How do you swim with a horse out of an avalanche? It's not water.
That's pure physics right there, Frank. All right? Don't even question it.
And what kind of miracle makeup remover does she have? She should market that shit. One wipe and her face was clear.
I totally thought that.
All right. And then when the big fight at the end, and Mulan has a knife at the villain's throat. I don't remember his name. And
Shan Yu.
Yeah, Shan Yu. Okay. But she says to Mushu, okay, fire. I'm like, you have a knife in his throat. Just slit his throat. What are you waiting for? I sound like Jerry Seinfeld now.
It's a Disney
What are you
film,
waiting
no
for?
throat slitting.
Thank you.
No.
It's what?
It's a Disney film, there's no throat slitting.
Oh my God.
G
we had
rating.
the fireworks and the racket. And how convenient was that lantern zip line she went on? They should make that a
Oh.
ride.
I would go on that.
Okay, so then at the end, I'm sorry, Mulan proves that she's a worthy warrior, right? And then she tells the emperor she just wants to go back to her narrow-minded little village where she'll have to marry the man her father picked for her and have babies like a good, obedient girl.
She never
Oh,
said that.
that's
She never
great.
said that.
How's that a message? Okay. Anyway, 5 songs by Matthew Wilder and David Zippel. Zippel? Yes, it's that Matthew Wilder.
Ain't nothing gonna break in my stride.
And he's a gay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Zippel also provided the lyrics for last year's Disney's Mulan, Hercules, and one of Joel's favorite musicals,
Yep.
City of Angels.
Yep.
And the reflection in the movie sung by Lea Salonga is there was a single version put out by Christina Aguilera, who at that point was only a former Mouseketeer because she was in the 1990s revival. And Reflection was her first hit, and that's how she got her recording contract at RCA Records.
I did not know that. But between that
Well,
and 98 Degrees singing the last song, you could tell what year this came out.
Yeah, and what Disney was trying to go for. What am I saying? Pander to? No? What do I mean?
Panda. They were trying to panda to
That's
them.
cute.
Panda. Never seen a black and white?
It was nominated for 1 Academy Award, original musical or comedy score. The song did not get nominated. WTF. And when I looked at the song nominees, one was called A Soft Place to Fall from the Horse Whisperer. Yeah, I hum that one every night. And there was no Best Animated Feature Award yet, so that didn't come till 2001. So, and quite frankly, no, Mulan is not a Disney princess. She doesn't marry any prince. She's not royalty of any kind. So I don't know why they keep saying she's a Disney princess. But all in all, I'm giving it 3 stars. It's not great. It's not terrible. I don't think I need to see it again, but it was fun, even though I complained about it.
That's what you do.
Even though I Barry hat-tricked it.
Who is only about 2 weeks younger than you, by the way.
Yeah, he seems a lot older.
As the Facebook says.
He seems a lot older.
Yeah.
All right, so Annie, since this was a big hit with you and your girls, right?
Oh yeah, we watched it. I've seen it like at least 50 times. And we play the music in the car all the time. Morgan loved the song. We could sing most of the songs and everything. You know, we loved it.
5 songs, right? There's 5 songs.
Yeah.
There's 5 songs.
And I actually asked my dad about it, if there was any like truth in it, and he was like, "No, it's all fiction. It's really all fiction, you know." But we just
I
loved
think
it.
I read it. It was a folklore. She wasn't an actual person. It was just this story that was told from generation to generation.
Yeah. So the girls loved it. I watched it so many times. They actually had dance numbers to it when they were in dance classes and stuff, and just fun. But then watching it again this time, I'm
Time
like,
number 51.
Yeah, the accents and the like, you know, we had talked about, and we didn't really talk about it on tape, but like, did they identify with it? And I'm not sure my girls did. You know, my girls were very much non-Asian looking, especially Morgan, and she took after dad more, you know, Danny more, and I'm not sure if it's just identifying with it or they just love the music and stuff, but I felt like it was such a it wasn't like that they identified with it so much. I mean, we
It
watched
wasn't
The
a,
Lion King a
yeah,
hundred
it
times,
wasn't,
and
it wasn't a cultural experience as much as it was just a girl power movie.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it is one of the Disney movies where she still has both parents. Like every
Yeah.
other one,
Yeah.
there's no mother figure or anything,
Right.
But it was enjoyable. We watched it a lot. We sang the songs all the time in the car and everything. Um, it was kind of like disconcerting, like with all the accents, and then Eddie Murphy, and it was a little weird, but we liked it. We got all the McDonald toys that went with it, and you know,
But
I
I
think
think I think at the time we weren't so politically correct about, oh, every Asian has to play an Asian role and that sort of thing, especially with the animated film. But yeah, Harvey Firestein being an Asian warrior seemed a little strange to me for sure.
yeah.
Well,
Um,
I'm sure you read in the trivia, Frank, because you said things from the trivia, that he was concerned and didn't want to do it until he was told there were plenty of Asians in the movie. So then he agreed to do it.
yeah, I think Morgan actually had it as a Halloween costume at one year and stuff, but I, it was interesting. It was good. It was kind of like you could do whatever you want kind of thing, if
Yeah.
but they definitely didn't identify with like the um
The
you know
Asianness.
the even the like the honor to your family, because we don't have any of that, obviously. But
So
for
you
me,
did not send them to the matchmaker when they were like 13 or whatever?
yeah, right. um for me, it's 3.5, just because we've watched it so many times. We loved it. Parts of it was like really really silly, for us, for me, like with the avalanche, and then them popping out like daisies from, come on,
Oh yeah,
or
I thought I wrote about that.
That's a great line, though.
I must have
I
skipped
love
some.
the fact that she made it up the tower to get that arrow.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites, and the songs were great. So the 3.5, definitely because of the music too.
I
Yeah.
did skip over one of my comments. And this was one I wrote, definitely thinking of Mark. They stole a cliche from The Princess Bride when the Hun yells so loud that the other characters miles away can hear. Somehow that managed to wake up all the dead Huns from the avalanche. Do you remember that in Princess Bride?
Of course.
All right. Joel, I'm assuming you showed this movie to your boys.
It's funny. I don't remember them watching it, but Duncan was like, "I've seen that movie before." I was like, "Okay," and
Because they weren't even, well, they weren't even born when the movie
no, when it
came
came out, they weren't even born. But we tried to show them as many Disney films as we possibly could that they would
Sure.
sit through. I don't specifically remember which ones, but as I said, Duncan claims he's seen it a couple of times, so and he said it was all right. So
I agree with Duncan.
it's look, we're at the almost at the tail end of the Disney Renaissance at this point, so things are kind of heading downhill anyway. It's not a bad film by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not hitting the highs that Beauty and the Beast hit, or the Little Mermaid hit, at the start of all this. So,
Lion King.
Oh,
yeah.
oh, by the way, on the airplane, I watched the live action Little Mermaid, and
Oh,
doesn't compare to the animated.
I'm sure it doesn't.
right.
None of these do. I mean, the live version of
Yeah.
Mulan was like, why did you make this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
The live
reason?
version of The Lion King, I'm like, this is not fun. These are real animals.
No, they're not. They're still animated. It's
they just look-
computer animation.
They looked real.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sobbed and
it's-
sobbed and wailed all throughout that movie.
It's the whole Paddington theory. They
We'll
real
talk about that
animals.
next week during Wonka,
Not
by the way.
cute. It's not cute and adorable.
He's not cute and adorable.
The Lion King.
No. You know, there's not, to me, there's nothing wrong with the movie, really. It's typical Disney at that point. It is what it is. It's definitely better than some of the stuff that Disney was about to put out over the next few years. And it's you know, it's probably a little bit better than some of the stuff that they were putting out after Walt died. You know, I
Yeah, but I think a little bit of without Katzenberg, it kind of just reverted a little bit.
Yeah.
To the old style. Yeah.
but it's fun. It's silly at points. The music is catchy, and you know, it gets stuck in your brain a little bit, which is nice. You know, I don't really have much more to say about it other than that. I'm gonna split the difference between the two of you and give it a 3.25.
Amy, did you show this movie to Cringer when he was growing up?
No, to Ruby, because she's a girl. I did see it in the
You saw
theater.
it. Yeah,
What were you
I
gonna
was going
say?
to say that.
Yeah, of course I saw it in the theater because I was still very into animation at the time. And it looked great. And I remember absolutely loving it. And in my mind's eye, and my mind's eye could be a dream, but I could swear I even had the VHS tape of it.
That
What?
what's that?
You
Right?
want to explain that for our viewers?
I have that too. Yeah.
I did note down a few things, but one thing I didn't, and I was thinking of when I woke up at 3:30 this morning, was there was a moment that I actually laughed out loud. It was early on. It was when Mushu, Eddie Murphy, the dragon, for our viewers at home, he was leaving to go do whatever he had to do with the, you know, early on in the movie, and somebody, the person in charge, threw something at him, let's say a gong, and it completely covered him. And when it dropped, he was like frozen in midair and then dropped. And I was like, oh, Annie and Joel are going to definitely recognize that from Warner Brothers. That was such a Warner Brothers thing. And it cracked me up. It was absolutely adorable how they reverted to that.
And then I think right after that, he said, "Ooh, my elbow."
I wrote so much is so clever, such as when the cricket typed the memo using Chinese characters with the
Typewriter.
sound.
Yes.
Was adorable. When they were singing A Girl Worth Fighting For, and he showed the role of the woman. Oh, the girl worth fighting for, and they had the parchment thing, you know, that painty type Asian Chinese looking.
It was supposed to be like a playmate, like
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Playboy.
Yeah.
Oh no, I
Sentiment.
didn't take it as that at all. It was, well, but you're right.
Like a pinup. Yeah.
Right,
No,
but what
yeah.
I'm saying, it was that type of painting that was very popular in Asian culture. But they
Yes.
all turned into that look, is what I was saying, and that was just beautiful.
Mm.
And I also wrote Reflection and I'll Make a Man Out of You are just brilliant songs. They're such good songs. I loved them, right,
Yeah.
Andy? Those two are the best. Some of the humor, you know, I hated, such as the slapstick with the matchmaker. You know how I hate slapstick. And a lot of the grandmother, Frank, a lot of the grandmother's dopey lines. And when Harvey Firestein said, "Ooh, tough," that's like you said, Frank, a lot of it was just so stupid and poorly written around such good stuff. So adorable when our heroes were dressed as women and we had the reprise of Be a Man. I thought that was very cute. And finally, the thousands of Huns, that I read that this was like a new style of animation they had created, but the thousands of Huns coming over the snowy mountain was just beautiful. So that's all I wrote. I enjoyed it, but I definitely didn't love it like I did back then. And there were moments where I was like, I really want to fast forward. I'm just like, let's go. I'm a little bored. But I'm still going to give it 3.5 stars. It's still a beautiful movie, and the music is terrific. And a little bit of that is just because I loved it so much the first time I saw it. So that's why the extra quarter.
I agree.
I'm glad you agree.
I should have gone before Annie, and that could have been her whole review.
Yeah.
What
so
she
that was-
said.
I think I think it's a little interesting that of all the Disney Renaissance films, this and Pocahontas are the only two that don't have stage versions.
Interesting.
Yeah, because Pocahontas sucks, basically.
Yeah, it does. I just rewatched it. Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
All right, Mark G, this was your choice. So, and you have a picture up, means you love it.
Absolutely. And I just want to start by going off note here by saying I guess I'm one of the very few that I do not like The Little Mermaid. I've seen it 3 times now, the original one. I've hated it every time, and I just to me.
Well, I
Little
think it
Mermaid,
might
I've
depend
seen it.
on when it came out and your age when you saw it. 'Cause when
Well,
Frank
and that's why I had
both saw
my
it,
best friend at the time was a girl. She lived across the street, and she made me watch it together in like the 90s, early 90s. I remember not liking it, and then when I got married, Danielle was like, "Oh no, I love The Little Mermaid." I was like, I'm now a mature and sophisticated adult. Let me try watching it again now in my 30s." Didn't like it, and then a couple of years ago, Danielle was Ursula in a stage production of The Little Mermaid. And I loved the show watching it live, and then we watched it again, and I was like, oh no, this still sucks. So I don't know. I to me, I know that was the beginning of the Renaissance, but to me, Mulan is like head and shoulders above that for me. Anyway, let me go back on notes. I love Asian culture, likely due to getting into martial arts at a young age. When I was a teenager, I really got into it, mostly Japanese, like ninjas and samurais. I could watch all day. But I took Korean art, so I was also into Korea. Chinese, I love Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee and Arnold Schwarzenegger are my two idols growing up. I love physicality.
Schwarzenegger's not Asian, right?
I do know that. But bodybuilding, martial arts, I was always into physicality. So those guys were, big idols for me. I saw this in the theater, and then probably saw it 30 times since then. So Annie still wins with watching it 50 times. Finding Nemo and Mulan are tier 2 Disney movies for me. If you recall from 2 months ago, I'm sure everyone recalls what I gave Finding Nemo. It's at 3.75 stars for me, so you can write that down. It is not at the level of Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. Those are the only two 4-star Disney movies for me. But this is just one notch lower. I don't mind the slapstick comedy. I get why people don't, but for me, I guess it does. The comedy does land, and I do like Eddie Murphy. But I will say that it's a bit short on music for a musical. I really like the songs, but 5 songs is not that much. And I will
I
say,
think that it's the same in The Lion King. There's only 5 songs.
Yeah, true.
It's not. I think that's a norm for the Disney animated.
Well, then let me put it this way: for the main song "Reflection," if you compare it to Aladdin, A Whole New World, they're flying around the world, they're both singing back and forth. It's great. In this, it's like 20 minutes into the movie. She's sad. She has like one verse and one chorus, and the song's over. And I feel like they kind of. So it took me a while to even know. Like I remember even when Danielle and I went to Disney the first time, she's like, "Oh, that's Reflection playing," and I was like, "Is it? I don't." Like I'll Make a Man of You, and the other ones hit more for me. Anyway,
I'll Make a Man Out of You is our favorite.
great.
yeah, let's get down to business. To defeat that
Yeah.
joke I sent you. I mean, that's just if you hear that, I just right away it hits.
Yes.
Between this and Aladdin, I loved Lea Salonga back in the day, and I totally had a crush on her. And I'm going to tell a quick story here. When I joined my audit firm right out of college, we had national trainings the first 2 years. So I was 23 and then 24, and you get everyone in America went to with the first year was Dallas, Fort Worth. The second year was Marietta, Georgia. And Annie, I apologize, but it was my mission at the time. I wanted to totally nail an Asian chick, and so I was like on the prowl, and I met this girl Jen. She was Filipino, and I did not close the deal. But we exchanged numbers, and then she came to she was a California girl. She was out in Malibu, and she came to New York City like a year or two later, and she stayed with me, and we went, and she bought us tickets to Les Mis on Broadway, and Lea Salonga was a friend of hers, a friend of the family. They may have actually been like distant cousins or something like that. And we were going to go out to dinner with her. And at the time, even in like 2001, I had heard the name, but I wasn't like back in those days, I was just an idiot watching movies. I was always a fan of movies, but I didn't really care who sang a song. I didn't know who did this. I didn't know who the director was. Now I'm much more of a true fan. But I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, we'll go out to dinner. And it fell through. It didn't happen. But I almost went out to dinner with Leah Salonga, which would have been a better story. But this is the story that I'm going to tell. That's it. We never went. But I did watch Les Mis, and I did enjoy that. So.
Would it have counted since you didn't know who she was? It'd be like,
Sure.
yeah.
But we did watch several years later we went to go see Once on This Island, and Leah Salonga was in that, and that was in the theater in the Round in the city. And she would walk through, so she was like 5 feet from me. So I almost had dinner with her.
You almost seen a show with her.
Almost. Anyway, Miguel Ferrer as Shan Yu. I find that a great performance. That to me is like the best Disney villain ever. He is like, as I would imagine watching this as a child, he is scary. And I know he's not Asian. He's what's
why
it?
did the
Rosemary Clooney's son, by the way.
I
And
think
why did all of the Huns have to have yellow eyes because they were the villains? What is that about? It was weird.
A little racist too, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe they were going for a kind of, Dune thing that, there's like something in the air that causes them all to have yellow
Or
eyes.
yellow eyes.
Sure.
Okay.
Like the
I will
Spice
say this.
Girls.
I remember watching it with Danielle, and I was like, let me look this up. I was like, this has to be PG, not G, because like when he says, how many men does it take to deliver a message? And they shoot. I mean, I know Disney has a history of killing off moms and and they don't show it, and they didn't show it here, but there just seemed a few between the concubines. It seemed a little bit PG more than G. So I was a little surprised
it's
that this.
PJ, right? It is PJ.
No, it is G.
No, it's PJ.
No, I looked it up. It says G,
Hmm.
which I'm surprised. I really am surprised because it should have been. What else? Eddie Murphy, I loved.
I loved him. I've loved him.
I get it, and there was some slapstick, but some of his lines are fantastic.
Yeah.
Frank Welker, who's the voice of everything back in the day, he was known as the voice. He was the voice of Cricky and Khan the horse. I love him. He was also Abu in Aladdin. He was like the go-to guy back in those days, and he's been replaced by Alan Tudyk these days. For years, I thought the head ancestor was Uncle Phil from the Fresh Prince, because he kind of has this body, and he's got that deep voice. And it wasn't until like I watched this 10 times that I was like, oh, that's George Takei. I had no idea.
Yeah. I had no idea either.
Oh my.
Oh my.
That was pretty good.
And yeah, not only was "I'll Make a Man Out of You" the song, but the montage I thought was perfect to move the story along. It shows you that they trained. This is obviously taking place over the course of months. They become experts and all that stuff. Perfect, I thought. Watching this made me want to go back to Disney after a year and a half ago when we went, and I was kind of over Disney. It was not as fun as I remember, but now I totally have a little Woody for Disney. And
They have a
at
little
the
Woody
end.
for you, Mark.
Keep your Toy Story out of this.
Comes with a buzz too.
Yeah.
God.
At the end, everyone bowing to her, which is a great shot that always gets me. And I love the relationship she has with the father. Again, if you, in the context of the times, to have a dad that was, I know he was duty bound, whatever, but to have a dad that was also understanding like that, it's a great character for me. And I love at the end when he just kind of tosses aside the sword and the medallion and he just hugs her. I know it's you're gonna say it's Disney just pulling your heartstrings. Fine, sure, but it works for me. And I like the grandmother. I thought she was fun. Although I do have to say her transition to the singing voice was the fakest thing ever. Like that is not the same woman. Anyway, again, 3.75 stars. I love this.
Her singing voice was the legendary dubbing lady, Marnie Nixon.
Yep.
She did a lot of dubbing in her career.
But there was, as Mark said, there was very little effort to bridge the gap between June Foray's voice and Marnie Nixon's voice.
Yes.
It's like, I could believe, you want if you're getting someone to sing a different, a character different from the person who's vocalizing them in the regular dialogue, you want to find someone who's at least going to put in the work to make it, I could believe I know it's Donny Osmond, but the transition from BD Wong to Donny Osmond is seamless.
Yes,
Donny Osmond sounds like he could be BD Wong's singing
Well,
voice.
same with
100%.
Ming Na Wen and
Exactly. And Leia Salonga.
Leah.
So,
they didn't even try with Harvey.
no.
Good Lord.
You can't replicate that voice.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Go with
he
it.
sang for himself.
Oh, and sorry, the other part, the PG versus G, when she's like, I never want to see another man again, a naked man again, and then they all run by naked. Again, I just thought that was a little bit risque for G. That's all I'll say.
They
You
were
didn't, you
definitely,
didn't
I think
see
Disney
any naked pit. You didn't see any naked parts.
No, but I
Yeah.
think Disney was
Spot or
pushing the
something.
boundary of G as far as they possibly could without going over, where it's like, all right,
Yeah.
we're leaving things to your imagination that we normally wouldn't have in here. Like, Sleeping Beauty didn't have, a short guy standing on a rock completely naked and you're looking up between his legs and not actually seeing anything,
Yeah.
but you know what's there.
Yes, we do.
Do you though, Joel? Today you never know what's there.
Well, all right, good point.
All right. So
I also felt like the love interest kind of thing didn't need to be.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
It was
that,
superfluous.
you know.
It was in there because that's what Disney's supposed to put in the movie.
Yeah.
To make her the princess that she really
Yeah.
isn't, because she's not a princess in that sense.
Yes, but one more thing then with grandma at the end with can you stay for dinner? Can you stay forever? I
That's
love
good.
that was
Yeah.
a great line.
That's a great line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Annie, can you give us just one line reading of "I Love You, Man"?
No.
If you have enough alcohol to say that, yeah. No.
I love you, man.
I do want to add quickly. This is one of the many films that in the late '90s into the early 2000s that Disney did do a direct-to-video sequel to. It's probably the
I was getting there, Joel. I was getting there.
Oh, sorry. I'll stop and you can.
That's a post-credit sequence.
Huh.
All right, so Mulan was from 1998. It is on Disney Plus, and it was followed by a direct-to-video sequel, Mulan 2, in 2004. Anybody seen that?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
And
it's terrible. It's
terrible.
probably the worst. The Disney direct-to-video sequels are all between mediocre and terrible. This one lands on the, oh my God,
Terrible.
why am I
Terrible.
watching this? Terrible.
It's like Sting 2 terrible.
No, the Sting 2 actually has good actors.
What about Aladdin 2? I never seen that one either.
That's fun.
Okay.
Aladdin 2 is fun, but it's not great.
Isn't Aladdin 3 better?
Aladdin 3 is better, yes. But they're all of those direct-to-video sequels are bad. And there was something else I was about to quickly say about the sequel, and I can't remember what it was.
Mulan 2?
Yeah.
No,
Right.
Lion King 2.5.
1.5.
1.5.
1.5.
And the live action remake was released in 2020, which Annie watched on the plane.
No, I watched The Little Mermaid on the plane.
Oh, anybody see the Mulan?
Yes.
Boring,
Yeah,
right?
it as Joel said, it wasn't a bad movie. It was just it's
Also
missing the
not a good
magic.
movie. Yeah.
It's a battle movie, and it's missing all the music and the comedy, and it's all right.
It's Disney
They
going.
got the music.
Disney's like, how do we recreate the success of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? Do we have something we could base that on? Oh, we have Mulan. Let's rip out all the comedy, all the music, all the drama, and just do Wuxia. So,
and cash in on all the Asian movies making money now.
yes, except unfortunately it got released during the pandemic and went direct to Disney Plus as a premium title, and
if it had come out after, if it was a little bit better and it had come out right after Everything Everywhere All at Once, it would have done much better.
Probably.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go to Disneyland Hong Kong on Tuesday,
Ooh,
and I'll see how much of Mulan is actually there.
perfect.
Yeah.
Have fun.
They have a Mulanville.
I don't think.
Right. Next week, I didn't update it. Oh, next week it's my choice. In an effort to make us more relevant to our fan, we are going to watch a new movie, which is a prequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, called Wonka, starring Timothée Chalamet. Timothy Chalamet.
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 Chalamet. Timothy Chalamet. Rolls right off the tongue.
I've
That's it.
already seen it.
Me too.
Wow. That's 3-4. Aim, you haven't seen it yet? No, me neither. All right. So hopefully you didn't watch it months ago. You have to,
I have to rewatch it. I saw it in the theaters when it came out.
Oh. What's that in the theater? I don't go there. Okay. Oh, I saw something. I am Frank Gaffney. Go watch a movie. If you want to watch this one, okay, fine.
You better watch this one, please.
Please
Yeah.
don't beg.
I'm gonna be
Like
home
you do
next
all your
week.
women. You have to beg.
Yay!
Hey.
Welcome home.
Okay, and also with you.